Hello everyone, today we're looking at this 1966 Ford Galaxie 507 liter. This is an all-original true survivor car with all-original paint, trim, and interior. The car sits at 46,500 miles. These cars were lowballed at around 345 horsepower and around 460 torque for insurance purposes, although many of the owners said it exceeded 345 horsepower and even exceeded the 460 torque. Out of the 780 7-liter models built in 1966, only 495 were hardtop. The history of this car starts in Elk Grove, California, where the original owners, a retired couple, bought the car for towing their Airstream. The couple were very happy with the 7-liter as it provided more power and more torque and did not have to settle for a wagon or a truck. The original owners put the majority of the miles on this car, as they drove it on and off for 21 years. The original owners sold the car in 1987, where it was driven for 5 years, until 1992 with the second owner. In 1990, the second owner entered the car into the 7-liter registry, where he recorded only 43,000 original miles. In 1992, the car was put in storage for 24 years, until 2016, where it was found by a private dealership. The private dealership found this as a true barn find, and had to do a lot of work to get it back on the road. Some of the work included rebuilding the stock carburetor, as well as taking care of the fuel system by doing a new fuel tank, as well as a new fuel sending unit. He also upgraded the brakes to 4-caliber piston front disc brakes in the front, as well as doing a dual master cylinder for better braking instead of the stock single master cylinder. He then went to the motor and replaced the water pump and all the gaskets in the motor, including the exhaust manifold gasket, intake manifold gasket, valve cover, and oil pan gasket. During the 24 years of storage between 1992 and 2016, there was a blanket put over the car for protection. Throughout the many years, the blanket did peel off the clear coat and eventually attack the paint, as you can see here. This spreads from the hood to the roof to the trunk, but the majority of the damage is on the hood. None of this damage is serious, but has caused surface rust in some areas. This is the driver's side front fender, the driver's side roof, and the driver's side rear fender. Now we move to the passenger side. As you can see, there's a bit of paint damage near the antenna here, and little bits of paint damage towards the front of the fender. The roof is very equivalent to the other side, with a vigorous plot near the trim here. The rear fender is pretty equivalent to the other side, with very small markings towards the rear. As you can see here, along the corner of the trunk lid, there's a little bit of paint damage very similar to the fenders, and a little bit of surface rust damage to the paint underneath the passenger side tail light. As you can see here, there's a plot of surface rust just at the bottom of the drip rail. On both sides of the car, this is very equivalent, and it's only surface rust. There's no holes going through, nor is there damage to the metal. Due to this vehicle being in storage a majority of its life, I have noticed a very small amount of dents and dings. Surprisingly, it's in very good condition. The most prominent damage I've noticed is here in the front grille. As you can see, there's a small indentation on the driver's side grille with a lateral crack moving down the grille. The driver's side of the car has very little damage, with only a few penny-sized dents along the quarter, door, and rear fender. The passenger side is pretty equivalent to the driver's side. There are small penny-sized dents along the quarter panel here, but unnoticeable unless looking directly at it. As you can see on the passenger door, the body line on the door is a little bit lower than the body line on the fender. The car has since been detailed on the sides. As you can see, it has brought up the signature 7-liter pinstriping, which is undamaged and all original. We are now looking at the stainless steel trim on the rear window. It's all intact, no dents and no damage. The drip rail trim from the back window running along the front is all in immaculate condition, no dents, no dings, all the way to the front windshield trim. We'll now move into the driver's side. As you can see, no dents, no damage, and it's in very good condition. And we'll run along the drip rail here all the way to the rear window. As you can see, no dents, no dings, and no damage. As we move to the rear passenger side, here's the lower trim on the rear fender. There is a dent in this region here, just behind the rear wheel. And as we move to the wheel well, you can see there is a fair amount of dents and dings in this piece of trim. We are now looking at the bottom trim on the passenger side, from the front wheel to the rear wheel. On this piece of trim, there is a few scratches and blemishes, as well as a small indentation around the halfway mark of this piece of trim. As we run towards the rear wheel, there are more blemishes and scratches. This is the front passenger wheel well. As you can see, there are not dents, but there are blemishes and scratches. Here we are looking at the front wheel well of the driver's side. As you can see, the trim does have some dents as well as blemishes. Here we are looking at the lower trim from the front wheel to the rear wheel on the driver's side of the car. As you can see, this is in great shape and has little to no damage. We are now at the rear wheel trim on the driver's side. As you can see, there are small indentations running from left to right. As we zoom out, we now look at the rear trim on the rear fender, and it's in very good shape. This is another high performance option with the 7-liter, and it's only having the one mirror on the driver's side of the car. As we go to the passenger side, you can see there's no drill holes nor mounting hardware for a mirror on this side. We're now moving to the passenger side headlights and headlight trim. As you can see, the lenses are uncracked and undamaged, as well as the trim and hardware being in perfect shape around the headlights. Both the low beam headlight and high beam headlight, as well as the blinker, are in perfect working condition. Moving over to the driver's side headlights and blinker, they are in the same condition as the passenger side, as well as they are in perfect working condition. We now move to the driver's side tail light. As you can see, the trim around the light is in good condition, as well as all the lenses from the brake light to the reverse light. These lights on both sides are in perfect working condition. Here's the passenger side. As you can see, the trim is in similar condition, as well as the lenses. We're now moving to the decals on the car. As you can see, all the Ford on the rear trunk is intact, as well as the iconic 7-liter decal. As you may notice on top of the 7-liter decal, there is some paint flaking on the top of the 7 inside the decal. This is the driver's side front fender 7-liter decal. As you can see, there is paint flake and fade on the 7 and around the red perimeter. As we move to the passenger side front fender, you can see again there is red flake and paint fade. And last but not least, we go to the Ford on the front of the hood. As you can see, there is no damage to any of the letters. As we move to the right of the grille, we will see the iconic 7-liter decal up front. Here we are testing out the windows. Here is the driver's side front window, rear window, as well as the wing window up front. And now I'll move to the passenger side. Here's the passenger front window, rear window, and the wing window. As we move towards the windshield, this is the original windshield that came with the vehicle. No windows have been replaced in this vehicle. This even has the original California Highway Patrol vehicle inspection still intact on both sides. As we move inside the car, you can see the door panels are in perfect condition, no rips, no discoloration, and no tears. There is a small blemish, but not a rip, where the door contacts the door jamb. As I pan over to the door jamb, you can see that it's not dirty, nor rusty, and there is no damage. As we go towards the 7-liter signature steering wheel, we will see a stress crack at the right spoke and a stress crack at the bottom spoke. The horn button on the steering wheel does not work either. As we look beyond the steering wheel, there is a clock, and it is not functional at this time neither. Everything else on this dash is in functioning and good working condition. The light switch works perfectly. The wipers, the turning signal lever, the fuel gauge as well as a speedometer are in perfect working condition as well. As well as the odometer, which is perfectly accurate. As you can see here, this car is a factory AC car. The AC does blow cold, and all the other functions of this unit work perfectly. The radio on this car is also in perfect working condition.
Protection plan from Zander Insurance. They monitor all personal info.
As we move over to the passenger side, you will also see the iconic 7-liter decal here on the bottom of the wood grain of the passenger side. As you can see, beside the 7 there's 2 small little blemishes in the decal. As we move up, there is an ashtray and cigarette lighter in this compartment here, and the cigarette lighter is functional. To the right of the ashtray compartment is the glove box. You open the glove box by pressing this button here, and you'll find an original 1966 manual, as well as the button for the emergency flashers. These lights are fully operational and work perfectly on the front and the rear turning signals. As we move to the far passenger side, you can see that the door panel here is undamaged. It doesn't have any rips, blemishes, tears, or discoloring. Here we can see all the cab lights turn on. Not one is burnt out, and every single one is functioning. Here we get a close-up of the front bucket seats. As you can see, there's no discoloring, no tears, no rips, and no damage. Here we go into the back seat. As you can see, the rear door panel is in great condition. The other side is equivalent. Then we'll pan out to the rear seats here. As you can see, they are undamaged. The speaker is in great condition. And as we pan out to the seats, you can see that they're undamaged and in perfect shape. We'll then move up and see that underneath the window here is uncracked and undamaged from the sun. Here we have the sleeper seat option, which predominantly came in Thunderbirds. This seat option was very rare, but was one of the options with the 7-liter. As we move it to the dashboard, you can see that there is no sun damage, nor cracks or discoloration. You may also notice the trim around the front windshield is in great condition, as well as the sun visors and roof. A feature which I think is often overlooked is the quality of the back seats here. As you can see, all the trim and the back plate to the seat are undamaged and are in good condition, as well as the leather that the seat falls upon. As you can see with the front seats, they are both in equivalent condition. We then pan up to the center console, and as you can see, there are no cracks and no damage to any of the trim nor the plastics. After doing a full inspection of the interior, the only real damage I found was this crack here around the bolt of the center console glove box. As you can see, it's not cracked all the way through, but the crack continues, as well as an exterior crack near this bolt here. Here's the door jamb for the passenger door, and as you can see, it's an equivalent shape to the driver's side. As we're exiting the passenger side, here is the lower trim for the door opening. As you can see, it's in pretty good shape. And the driver's side is equivalent. Here we are looking at the underside of the passenger door. As you can see, there's a small amount of surface rust and dirt accumulated. Other than that, it's in very good condition. This is the underside of the driver's side door. It is, again, has surface rust and dirt accumulated, but in very good condition. As we move to the trunk, you can see how effortlessly the trunk opens with the key. This trunk has a spare tire, very good condition, very spacious. And as you can see, there is no damage anywhere, light amount of surface rust, very clean around the tail lights on both sides, and overall in very good condition. As we pan up, we'll go to the trunk lid. As you can see, the paint is in perfect condition. It even has the original jack stowage instructions and jacking instructions. As we move to the front of the car, we get to look at the Q code 428 Ford Big Block. As you can see, it has the 428 original air cleaner. It also has all the California smog accessories. There's a lot of original parts on this motor, but a lot of aftermarket ones as well, as the third owner had to get it running, so he replaced a few of the main accessories. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the 1966 Ford Galaxie 507 liter. All in all, this is a beautiful car, low mileage, and truly is a survivor. This car has lots of potential to either be restored, built, or just driven as is. As it sits right now, this car is extremely rare and very nice to look at. This car is very immaculate considering its history. It's been stored indoors its whole life, and it's always had a loving owner. The rarity of this 7-liter adds so much more cool factor to this car, as it's very unknown within the car community. This car will sure turn heads everywhere and has a very good story behind it.